Hey yogis, happy fall. Actually, as I'm sitting here to record this video for you, it is the fall equinox. So we are officially in fall season. So of course in yoga terms or Ayurvedic terms, fall time of the year is called Vata season. And what that means is the elements of the Vata dosha are dominant in nature all around us. And the two elements that comprise the Vata dosha are air and space, or ether. You sometimes hear it referred to as ether. So as you can imagine, think about the qualities of air and space. Changeable, volatile, light, dry, cold. These are all the qualities of the season. So as we head into Vata season, optimally, we would balance those qualities by applying opposites. So this is one of the key rules of Ayurveda, is that like attracts like, but application of opposites creates balance. So for instance, if you're someone like me with a lot of Vata in the constitution, we love this time of year. I find myself so excited and so inspired and a lot of movement, creativity, wanting to do a lot of things. So I'm drawn to that, and yet what I really need to stay in balance is the opposite of that. So what is the opposite of air and space? Earth and water, right? Think of those two elements. They're heavy, they're dense, they're nourishing, they're grounding, right? They're hydrating. So I want to give you, there's many things I could give you. And in fact, in my membership, I post each season a much bigger and more extensive video on what you could do this time of year or each time of year to create balance. But I want to at least share with you three kind of essential Vata season ways to support yourself. So first of all, if air and space and the sort of volatility and dryness and movement is more natural in our atmosphere and we want to ground, what that means is we want to slow down. So this is hard for those of us with a lot of Vata, and it's probably hard for most people in general in our current modern culture. But any ways in which we can slow down is optimal. So saying no a little bit more this time of year is truly the best thing you can do. Rather than taking on more projects and signing up for more volunteer opportunities and piling on the social commitments, if you could actually do the opposite and be a little bit more selective. Doesn't mean you don't have a life, but it just means that you reduce rather than increase. So a little bit more time at home, a little less running around, it will go a long way, will really go a long way. So that's the first one. Can you slow your schedule down at least a little bit? At minimum, don't add on to it. Don't pile on this time of year. The second thing is changing your diet. So if air and space are more dominant, we don't want to eat a lot of light, cold, dry foods. We want the opposite. We want warm, cooked, grounding, moist, hydrating, right? So instead of the salads or the crackers, soups, stews, sauteed vegetables in ghee, right? Because the oil is moisturizing and the warm cooked, is easier to digest. We want grounding foods, nourishing, grounding foods. So move away from the cold, move away from smoothies, salads, all things light and dry and cold. And as much as you can, warm and nourishing. This is the time of year I start in on my morning cooked cereals. Cream of wheat, oatmeal, oat bran, the 7-grain or 12-grain cereals that you can buy at the store. So just a little bit of adjustment, and that will really nourish you and moisturize you on the inside. So that's number 2. The third thing is, of course, change your yoga. So in the springtime, we might want to move fast because it's kapha season and kind of get things moving, right? Because we've sort of been heavy through the winter. but it's the opposite in fall. So slow your yoga practice down. Doesn't mean you don't move, it doesn't mean you don't do sun salutations, but slower and maybe a little bit less, and apply holding poses and standing poses. So I tend to do fewer standing poses and really hold them. It's challenging in a different way. It will build the inner heat, but it's super grounding and stabilizing. And then I would also say, change up your pranayama, some more extended pranayama, long exhalations, pranayama practices that are grounding and warming. And this is good every day of the year, but especially in Vata season, meditation. Because when we meditate, we sit, we get still. It's the opposite of all the movement of air and space. We sit, we get still, we calm the mind, the breath becomes very soft and gentle, and we calm the nervous system. We really calm the nervous system. So yogis, those top three, slow yourself down in your schedule if at all possible and when at all possible. Change your diet up, warm, nourishing, grounding. Get away from light, dry, and cold. And number three, slow down your yoga practice. Less, quick movements, more steady, held, grounding movements. All right, yogis, happy fall. Namaste.